The morning after the great cat and teeth disaster, Grandpa Joe woke up extra early. He looked under his bed, checked his nightstand, and carefully popped his clean false teeth back into his mouth. He wasn't going to let Barnaby the cat pull any more tricks. He walked into the living room, ready to sit in his favorite rocking chair. But as he reached down to grab his trusty wooden walking cane, which always rested against the wall, his hand grabbed nothing but empty air. The cane was gone. Not again. Grandpa Joe groaned, checking behind the television and inside the umbrella stand. Who stole my leg? Just like the day before, the house instantly went into investigation mode. My dad checked the backyard, thinking the dog next door might have taken it. My mom checked the laundry basket. But I knew exactly where to look. I looked over at the play rug. My 7-year-old cousin, Leo, was wearing his bright red superhero cape again. He was standing on top of a pile of pillows, holding Grandpa's long wooden cane high in the air like a sword. "Fear not, citizens," Leo shouted to the empty room. "Captain Leo is here to save the planet from the giant dust bunnies." "Leo?" Grandpa Joe called out, stepping into the room with a playful frown. "That is my walking stick, not a laser sword. Bring it here before you break something." "But Grandpa," Leo pleaded, his eyes wide with excitement. "The evil dust bunnies are hiding under the sofa. I need my magical staff to defeat them." Grandpa Joe sighed, but he couldn't help but smile. "All right, Captain Leo. You can have exactly 3 more minutes to save the world. Then, my leg comes back to me." Leo cheered and took a massive leap off the pillow mountain. He sprinted toward the sofa, slid on his knees across the shiny hardwood floor. He thrust the wooden cane deep underneath the dark space below the couch. Thwack! The cane hit something solid. Suddenly, a loud, angry meow echoed from under the sofa. It wasn't a dust bunny. It was Barnaby the cat. Barnaby had been taking a peaceful morning nap in the dark, and he did not appreciate being poked by a magical staff. The cat panicked. He scrambled backward, his claws scratching against the floor, and accidentally wedged himself directly between the wooden legs of the sofa. "The monster is trapped," Leo yelled happily. "Wait, Leo, don't pull," my mom shouted, running into the room. But it was too late. Leo gave the cane a massive, heroic tug. Because the cane was tangled in Barnaby's collar and the sofa legs, the entire front of the heavy sofa lifted 2 inches off the ground. Barnaby broke free, shot out from under the couch like a furry white rocket, and sprinted straight up the living room curtains. The cane flew out of Leo's hands, spun through the air like a helicopter propeller, and landed with a loud clack directly inside the ceiling fan that was spinning on high speed. Whack! 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 The ceiling fan started hitting the cane violently. The entire light fixture began to wobble and shake. "Duck!" my dad yelled, throwing himself onto the floor. My mom grabbed Leo and shielded him. Grandpa Joe covered his head with a sofa cushion. For 5 terrifying and hilarious seconds, the living room sounded like a construction site as the wooden cane spun wildly inside the fan blades. Finally, with one last loud crack, the ceiling fan launched the cane completely across the room. It flew through the open kitchen doorway and landed with a perfect ploop straight into my dad's giant, open bucket of white wool paint that he had left out for weekend remodeling. The room fell dead silent. We all slowly stood up and walked into the kitchen. We gathered around the bucket. Grandpa Joe's beautiful, vintage brown wooden cane was now sitting upright in the bucket, completely covered from top to bottom in thick, dripping, bright white paint. It looked like a giant marshmallow on a stick. Grandpa Joe looked at his newly painted cane, looked up at the ceiling fan which was now missing one blade, and then looked at Leo, who was hiding behind his superhero cape. Grandpa Joe took out his false teeth, held them in his hands so he wouldn't lose them, and burst into a laugh so loud it shook the kitchen windows. "Well," Grandpa wheezed, wiping a tear from his eye. "I've been telling your grandmother for 10 years that I wanted a white cane for the winter." Leo smiled in relief, stepped forward, and gave Grandpa a big hug. My dad just sighed and looked at the broken ceiling fan, realizing his weekend plans had just gotten a lot longer. If you want to know what happened when Grandma came home and found a white painted cat, a broken ceiling fan, and a white cane, click on this video right here for part 3. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss our family chaos, and tell me in the comments, what is the craziest thing you ever broke as a kid?